So in today's video, we're going to look at how to filter by date. So we'll start with the data here, and I'll show you how to refer to data in another tab and using the table references. So let's jump right in. So we'll use the filter function here. And then what we need to do in the filter function is first of all, the range for the data that we want to search or filter. And so that will be over here. And so I can scroll down or I can just remove that end reference just like that. And then in filter, we can do one or more conditions. And so we're going to refer to the column that we're going to look at. And so that would be our date column. And then we can do equals, we can do greater than, we can do greater than equals, and less than or equals, and so forth. So if we want to do greater than or equals to a certain date, we could put it in like this and put in 2025, 1-1, and that will go like this. So it looks like it's all the same stuff, right? And so let's go ahead and go to 2, so that would be February, and you can see that showing up there. So this really isn't the most useful way to do this. So we probably want to be able to put the dates maybe out here. So we could do start and end, and then maybe make these some input cells here, and maybe put a little white border between them. And then maybe we'll change these to a date drop down like this. Hit done. And now if we double click, it allows us to select a date. So let's close that real quick and then maybe do something like that. So if we put here, let's say 2/1/2025, and then we could do 3/1/2025, how will we incorporate this into the formula? So if we go back to our filter formula here, instead of setting the date inside, we'll refer to that cell, just like that. And then to also incorporate the end date, we're just going to repeat this. So we'll just put another comma and flip this around to less than or equals to, and then we need to go to B4, which is our end date cell. So now if we go in here, let's go ahead and actually adjust this down a little bit. Let's go to like a couple days. And so now you can see 2/1 to 2/4, just like that. And you can also change this if you want to only be greater than and less than, not including. So that's just one thing to keep in mind as well. You can also just do an equals, but in that case, you're not going to have start or end if you just have an equals. So let's do less than or equals like that. And now we can set that range. So that's the basics. Let's look now at how to refer to it if the data is on a different tab. So let's go ahead and start from scratch. We'll do filter, and then we can select this data. So just to reflect data in another tab, you can go like this, select the whole data, and then again, we would select that first column, and then greater than or equals to, and that cell. And then it didn't want to take that cell reference, so there we'll try it again. Sometimes that'll happen, so you just have to go back in and fix that. And then another comma, and then again, less than or equals to B4. Just like that. So now we're getting the data from over here. So you can see the difference is it has that tab name with a exclamation point and then our reference. So before it just had G7 to J, and now it has the tab name. So finally, let's wrap up by looking at table references. And so table references, again, you can select all the data. And so if we go all the way down, you can see it will turn into a reference. So it's based on that table. So let's just change that table name to make it a little more obvious that it's separate from the tab name. And so we can actually just type it in here. So data table, and then we use a bracket to select certain things. So if we want the whole table, we go like that. And then we can do our conditions. So again, we can type in the table name, and then there's date. And then now we do the same thing that we've done before. So like this. And then I repeated that comma by accident there, and then less than or equals to B4. And so that's how you then do a table reference with the same things. Now you can select, for example, the end of the month and see the entire month worth of data. All right, that's it for today's video. Make sure to check out the other videos on our channel for more tutorials on both Google Sheets and AppScript. And as always, have a great day.